Chris Paddack was terrific. Twins win 5-0 in the Rockies opener. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about reactions to the City Connect uniforms and so much more. This is Locked On Twins.
You are Locked On Twins, your daily Minnesota Twins podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Well, hello there, and welcome back to Locked On Twins. I'm your host, Brandon Warren. You can unfollow me on the tweets at Brandon_WARNEN. Joining me, as he does almost always, is Mr. Dave Brown at Answer Dave Brown on the tweets. What's up?
Hi, Brandon. We're finally back on the winning track with the Twinkies, so that's a good thing.
Yeah, moving in the right direction. We'll talk about that 5-0 win where Twins didn't necessarily blow up Dakota Hudson as you might have hoped, but did everything they needed to get the W against the woeful Road Rockies offense. So we'll talk about that. We'll talk about a whole bunch of other stuff too, including how good Chris Paddack was, which is quite impressive. But first, we're going to talk about the City Connects and our reactions to them. Today's episode brought to you by PrizePicks, the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnMLB and use code LockedOnMLB. That's all lowercase, all one word, for a first deposit match up to $100. Dave, the leak
Brandon,
that I shared with you that ended up being pretty close, or pretty much what came to fruition with these City Connects. Yes, correct?
am I allowed to be specific?
Sure.
So those were the socks?
I believe so. Yeah. I mean, I know it was socks. It wasn't exactly like I was sending you trade secrets or, nuclear codes, but socks. Who knew that socks would be the grand,
Those will come later. The trade secrets will come later in the season when the games get more intense.
or the deadline.
Right. Yeah, I have generally positive feelings about the uniforms. I was, like I said the other day, I was under the impression for a long time, kind of a soft impression, that the Twin Cities kits were the City Connect uniforms.
Mm-hmm.
And I still kind of think in some ways they are. These are more like State Connects, with the MN postal logo and the whole lake motif. And
Right.
they're a lot better than some teams have come up with. They do remind me a little bit of the Rays, not as kooky and crazy as what they came out with. I think somebody suggested that they'd be a little better if they had the ripple pattern in the pants as well as the jerseys. I think they're better than fine. They're not as good as great, somewhere on that scale.
By the way, thanks for making Locked On Twins your first listen every day. We're free and available wherever you get your podcasts. If you're watching us on YouTube, whether it's on the premiere or after the fact, give us a like, give us a subscribe, give us all that fun stuff, thumbs up, comments, all that good stuff. We love to hear from you on YouTube, and those 5-star reviews on Apple Podcasts are huge. We don't know why, but they're huge. Put us on those lists. Let people know you enjoy listening to us. Yeah, the City Connects for me, so the Twins ended up getting pushed to the back of the line due to their rebrand, and they wanted enough time for those things to breathe. And I think the fact that there's confusion or uncertainty of why those Twin Cities ones weren't the actual City Connects proves that any amount of time between those is what should have happened. To have waited as long as they did, I believe they're the last City Connect team to be announced. That was for a reason. Now, what stinks is that they end up being at the end of a line of teams with blue. So it looks like the Twins are copycats, when I have, from very, very well-placed sources, know the Twins have been working on this for a long time. And so there's no copycat stuff at play. But what I like, and what I think that City or State Connect uniforms should do, is be different enough than your regular uniforms to be distinguishable, because why be the same? You know what I mean? Use it to stand out. I like how there's a lot of Easter eggs. There's a lot of meaningful things, the ripple effect of the water, the colors of blue kind of going back and forth, the yellow for the shining of the sun off those bodies of water and that sort of thing. I don't know. I thought all those, and then my contact with the Twins who helped design these was really proud of the Lake Minnetonka underneath the brim of the hat too. Just a little nod, subtle or maybe not that subtle, to Prince. But when I think of the things that I want a city connect to, the boxes I wanted to check, this checked all of them. It may not be something I would wear. It may not be something I dig 100% aesthetically, but it checks all my boxes for what I want to see in a city connect.
I'm not really a jersey wearer. I mean, I have them. I had them in my past.
Yeah.
And I don't want to besmirch anybody.
Are you saying you've got some jerseys in your closet that we may not want to know about?
I do. I've got lots of things in my closet that we don't want to let out, really. Right. But jerseys are among them. I like, and I don't wear hats as much anymore. This is, as much as anything else, I need a haircut, and it's related to what we do because it's Access Twins, so it kind of fits, sort of like a uniform when if you work at Chipotle or something. But the hat is, and the hats that I've seen, I would wear that hat. I like the MN hat. I like the state hat. So I think those are, and I think that they put some work into this. There are some teams that it doesn't look like they did put a lot of thought into them, but I think they were thoughtful, in a practical and also in a like an emotional sense. Like you mentioned the nod to Prince with the under the bill, and so it's a decent look. I would say that the Twin Cities uniforms with some tweaking would have been fine for City Connects. And I also want the Twins, although I do like the iteration of the home uniform now. I think the second decade of the 2000s, where they went to the retro look, the Bob Allison jerseys. Mm-hmm. Those are some of my favorite baseball jerseys of all time, much less just for the Twins, for anybody. I think that could be a standard go-to, the cream Twins homage to the 60s. So, but the Twins have solid uniforms. They got rid of a couple that I don't like, and I think that's all that matters, that I'm happy. Yeah,
like the late Joe Mauer era ones, the rebrand before the rebrand. Is that what you're talking about that you didn't like?
No, I didn't like those at all. Didn't they get rid of pinstripes?
They had like Casota gold. They added a gold element to it. It looked okay, but it wasn't Twins. I don't know.
I think it wasn't so much even that I didn't like them. It's that they didn't need to take away the retros. I just think those are just incredibly classic, a great look, and I miss them horribly.
Yeah, no, I think you're onto something there. I think too, what I kind of gleaned from all this was, as much as we like to rage against the soulless corporations that dictate how this game works, whether it's MLB itself, Fanatics, Nike, there are people like you and me that we know that also poured countless hours of blood, sweat, and tears into this. And so when we immediately are like, oh, these suck, like it is still someone's passion project. And so maybe we could be a little more classy about it. I'm not saying we got to be, Mr. Peanut with our monocle and say, indeed, I don't think these are quite up to snuff. You don't have to be like that. But
I believe you have a letter for me.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, I think we can identify with that, Brandon, because we're writers, and then we'll write a story, and then people will immediately have a reaction to it. And if it's not great, even if they have a good point, it feels like, why are you attacking my children?
Yeah, exactly. Hey, let's take a quick pause. We got a couple sponsors to thank. When we come back, I want to talk about Chris Paddack maybe in a little while, but also, did you see Louie Varland is coming back for a one-off, or maybe, who knows, maybe longer. Maybe he shifts to the bullpen as we
You're breaking news to me. I did not see this.
Oh, wow. Well, that is exciting. We're going to get into that. We'll see if that changeup is all it's cracked up to be. But first, a quick break. We are nearly to summer, and that means you should be finishing up your spring cleaning. Are you stocking up on cleaning supplies? Are you swapping out your spring clothes for even warmer summer clothes? If you are and you're heading out to get something, make sure you're using the Ibotta app, and you can get real cash back with every single purchase. Ibotta is a free app. It gives you the most cash back every time you shop on hundreds of items, from groceries to beauty supplies to toys. For me, what's big is at the gas pump, because I drive a truck, and so I'm always over there filling up. It feels like nonstop, and so over at our local Quick Trip, Ibotta is a big dang deal. So you can make sure that you're beating inflation no matter what you're purchasing. For me, though, it's fuel. The average Ibotta, by the way, user earns $256 per year. That can cover a lot of things: tickets to a ball game, an entire shopping trip, to going out to dinner with your family. All that fun stuff. Ibotta would love to help you with that. Other apps can give you points. They don't really amount to much, but with Ibotta, it's cold, hard cash. You just upload your receipt, and you can cash out to your bank account, PayPal, or gift cards. Over 50 million people are using it right now, getting cash back every time they shop from over 2,700 brands and retailers like Lowe's, Macy's, Sephora, Best Buy, and much more. Right now, Ibotta is offering our listeners $5 just for trying Ibotta by using the code LOCKEDONMLB when you register. So go to the App Store or Google Play, depending on which you use, and download the free Ibotta app and start earning cash back. And use the code again, LOCKEDONMLB. Ibotta is IBOTTA in the Google app or Google Play or App Store, and use code LOCKEDONMLB. Go get your $5. It's easiest thing you'll do today. And our friends at PrizePicks want you to know that they are the largest DFS platform in North America, and they're super easy to play because it's just you and the numbers. You pick more than or less than on 2 to 6 stat projections and watch your money winning or your winnings roll in. So you can do demon picks. So if you're a little more risk averse, I don't know that would necessarily apply to me or even you, Dave Brown, but the red picks are the demon picks. They are scarier because there's multipliers, and if you put down some money and it multiplies, you can get in the green pretty quickly here, like 100 times your money multiplier on some of the more risky picks. But again, if you put down $10, you get 1,000. So if that's the way you play, no judgments here. You can definitely do that. And if you're more cautious, the green ones are called goblins, and they're designed to keep you in the green, designed to keep you keeping your green in hand. But again, payouts are lower. So again, you got to kind of decide where your risk tolerance is. If you're into the NBA, we are coming down the stretch with the NBA finals. Might be over sooner rather than later with how things are going. But you can gamble on anything from 3-pointers made to turnovers committed. And baseball, there's every stat under the sun. Your flavor is, if your flavor is, wins and that sort of thing, there's something for you. And if you like something a little bit nerdy, everybody's tastes can be accounted for on PrizePicks. So download the app today and enter code LOCKEDONMLB for a first deposit match up to $100. Again, that code is LOCKEDONMLB. It's all one word. It's all lowercase, and they'll match your first deposit up to $100. Join PrizePicks today. Pick more, pick less. It's that easy. All right, Dave Brown. It is Louie Varland getting the start. He will take on Cal Quantrill, former Cleveland Guardians righty. 6:40 first pitch at Target Field. You can listen to every pitch of the hometown broadcast with Chris Atterbury and a rotating cast of characters on SiriusXM on the SXM app. You just got to search Twins. Super easy to find. Also, if you're watching Fox Sports or ESPN on your TV all day and you have to turn the volume down because of all that shouting, make the switch to Locked On Sports today. It's a 24/7 sports streaming channel, a free one programmed for you every day to bring you the biggest stories without all the screaming. Locked On Sports Today brings you a can't-miss mix of analysis, opinions, news, and it's all streaming 24/7 on YouTube or on the free Amazon Fire TV channels app, which is part of the Locked On Podcast Network, which is your team every day. So, Dave, we have Louie coming up, and they wanted to push back Pablo, give him an extra day, and we discussed that. I surmised that it would be Caleb Bosley getting that start. To me, and they're sending back Diego Castillo, who I could take her leave. I guess he's like 9 days shy of 5-year service time to where he actually could have refused the assignment. But nevertheless, he throws hard. He's doing okay. This to me makes me curious if Louie gets the start and then hangs around as a swingman type, reliever type, because if you were just going to do a one-off, why wouldn't you just do Bosley and then send him back? You know what I mean? Like, am I reading too much into this?
I don't know. I'm not sure. Louie has not been, his results haven't been great at AAA. I think he gave up 6 runs in 3 innings in his previous performance against Syracuse. And last time I checked, Syracuse we make fun of the Rockies, but the Rockies probably are more dangerous of a lineup. So
isn't it the ACC, like Syracuse? I mean, come on.
Right. Yeah. You can't count on. I think it was a tough game because Boeheim was getting in the refs' ears.
Yeah.
So
I'm glad you said it. Boeheim. I'm not very smart.
You thought it was Boeheim?
I don't watch the games. I just read the stories and write the stories. So I don't always. I'm like an Eno Saris, where like you'll be like, hey, that's been doing this forever.
Eno Saris?
Yeah, right. How does he mess up these names so badly? And it's more like a one-track mind of like the creation you're doing and tuning out all the noise. And so I definitely have some Eno Saris in my game.
Eno Saris.
My wife called him the Enosaurus, like he was a dinosaur when he was my boss at Rotographs.
I wish I had thought of that because that's real funny. Eno Saris is a great. He's a great dude.
Yep,
and a very clever writer, and we make fun of him. He's probably never going to hear about it.
Went to Stanford. What do you expect?
Oh, I didn't even know that. I know he's from the Bay Area, but
Palo Alto, I think.
So I don't know. I think it's a tricky deal. I thought Louie had been doing okay at AAA, but Caleb Bosley. Speaking of names that don't. That should be like Bush League, but sounds too much like Bush League. So that's not complimentary at all. I don't know. I don't know. They're still trying to make Louie a starter. So I don't know if this is like it's probably not a last ditch effort. I don't know if he's going to be hanging around for longer as a swingman. Maybe we'll get lightning in a bottle here, but I think I was a little bit relieved to read that Rocco's idea here is not just to push back Lopez one day, but to give all his guys in the rotation an extra day. That wasn't clear to me, when we first saw that Lopez wasn't going to start today. So I think that's smart with the heavy concentration of games, just to be proactive about it. It's not reactive to anything in their stuff or their velocity that's down. So I think that's good thinking. I think we are seeing though that the Twins, it's the depth is a little thin. Festa is not ready to be promoted. Bosley's not what they want. He probably would be more of that would be kind of turned into a bullpen game automatically, and it might be that way anyway with Louie. We'll see. I want Louie to do well. I'm just not sure about the timeline and the Twins if it matches up right now.
Well, and as much as you want to keep Louie as an option as a starter, if it's a square peg in a round hole, beating your head against the wall doesn't fix that. And I know they need starting depth. I think, though, Simeon Woods Richardson taking the step forward that he has helps that Louie doesn't have to be that break glass, if you have just a catastrophic injury and you need 20 starts from a starter, every team's got that guy that I think they want it to be. And I think Louie Varland was that guy. And now it's Simeon Woods Richardson or either or. I mean, having 2 guys like that is fine. You know what I mean? Like sometimes teams are forced into this stuff and it just happens. And, suddenly you're giving 20 starts to somebody nobody's ever heard of. look no further than the upcoming A's series. But does it matter to you that Simeon Woods Richardson has been kind of usurped Varland's role to where Varland could in turn now help the team out of the bullpen? And then also this, they could send Varland back and bring Ronnie Enriquez up too. And I think maybe that's the move to keep an eye on because he's been good at St. Paul and the stuff looks good. I think that's actually the more that I'm kind of, looking at this and kind of trying to piece it together with who's on the 40 and all that. I think that's probably what's going to happen. Louie will have a cameo and then they'll send him back down. But with that said, I would welcome Louie in the bullpen if that was the case.
Enriquez has a lot of long relief appearances, doesn't he? Isn't that sort of what he does?
So he is what do we got here? He's got 18 appearances, 0 starts, but 32 innings. So yeah, averaging well over an inning per appearance. He does have a save. It was either him or if they did a 40-man move, I was thinking about maybe Scott Blewett, but I don't think that's what's happening. Right, but the numbers there are pretty good too. We'll see, I guess. But I mean, Enriquez, yeah, kind of more of a. I mean, if you had Enriquez up or Varland up, they could probably both fill that. Who's going to throw 2 innings for me when my starter goes 4 2/3, but we're still in the game role?
You can kind of see how in the preseason times, Rocco was very much into hoping that his relief pitchers there be multiple options to go multiple innings, 2 innings or at least extra outs other than 3. That hasn't really, because of practicalities, I guess, that hasn't really worked out. I mean, there have been moments when guys have gotten a couple innings at a time, but it always seems like it's in a blowout or not kind of after the fact kind of thing. So, But you can see how valuable that aspect of the bullpen would be. I think one other thing before we break, if we're going to talk about Paddack in the final segment, you mentioned Woods Richardson. They're trying to get Pablo going.
Mm-hmm.
Joe Ryan is doing what he's doing. The Twins don't necessarily need a long man if they can just get all the pitchers going at the same time, deeper into games. So I think that's maybe what Rocco's thinking, that if I give the starting pitchers, if they give them all a little bit extra rest, get them all right, then we're not going to need a 3-inning relief pitcher.
I like that a lot. Well, hey, let's take a quick break. When we come back, we'll talk about Paddack, who saw a crazy velocity spike and gave some credit to an unlikely source. So we'll be back in just a moment. Summertime means baseball, the NBA Finals, the Stanley Cup Finals, and much more. You can find it all on FanDuel. Right now, new customers get $200 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. If you're a guy like me and want to bet Celtics over Mavs, get that $5 going. I'm not bitter. I'm not a bitter Timberwolves fan, I swear. But again, that's $200 you can use to bet on everything from the Finals MVP to who's going to hit one out of the park. Probably Aaron Judge, who has a slugging percentage over 1,000 since the first time they faced the Twins this season. Now, with that said, $200 you can use to bet on anything. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and add a big win to your summer bucket list. Today, Twins are plus 105 with a 1.5 run spread. So they are they're favored by a 1.5. They are minus 196 against the money line, and it's an over/under of 8.5. So it is pretty standard stuff here. But if you want to bet on your Twins over at FanDuel, you've got some opportunities. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon. FanDuel is America's #1 sportsbook. And we're coming down the stretch here. Chris Paddack, velo up 1.7 per miles per hour per fastball. He averaged 95.2, touched 98, 97.6. If we're going to get down to decimals, Dewey's and decimals. But said Cole Sands was kind of in his ear about something. And my question basically is, like, how much of this do you think is sustainable? Because here's the thing. It's not like it was a crazy adrenaline game. He's not facing the Rockies and getting revenge or anything. And it's at home. It's not in Colorado where, maybe the atmospheric effects. I don't know. I mean, maybe this could stick, and that would be pretty exciting.
I think it all depends on, when we talk about increasing velocity from something even a few miles per hour here that we're not used to. Is that going to put a strain like on the elbow? And is that going to be a thing where, is it sustainable from that standpoint? Is it dangerous from that standpoint? I don't know. I think, pitching is what it is. And it's just kind of a little bit of a crapshoot, and it's kind of against some of the laws of physics and trying to bend those. And it's going to be kind of a dangerous operation no matter what you do. This is actually one of my favorite stories of the year so far. Bobby Nightingale, and maybe other people had it too, but he did a really good job in the Star Tribune, sort of detailing how Sands sort of took some advice that he got about his own velocity and issues, and physically how he throws the ball, and keeping his toes on the ground longer. And there's lots of for some people it might be like too much inside baseball kind of stuff. I found it fascinating, and from the standpoint of the players helping each other, it's being good teammates. It's great leadership on Sam's part and great awareness. He's like, well, I'm not a pitching coach, but I do study mechanics, which it makes sense. You don't want to go out, be in your industry blind to things that might help you or teammates. And from his off season, it's not Driveline, but it's a place like that in one of the Carolinas. He got some good advice and passed it on to Paddack. And Paddack in his past couple starts, he got up to 97 in his most recent start. So it's been a couple of starts now where he's thrown harder, and that's that gives the pitchers much more margin for error on other things, and it makes their other pitchers more playable. It isn't so much that major leaguers can't catch up to 97; they can, but if they don't expect it or are tricked by thinking that it's going to be slower pitches, that differentiation is where pitchers are going to have success in the middle of the season, and that could make a big difference. I love one thing I wanted to read was it's kind of funny baseball talk. Sands is speaking. He says, "I do a lot of dry work, mirror work to stay in good position," and he's always giving me crap about it. Paddack. He jokingly, after we talked about a change, he's like, "Dude, on my off day, I was doing a lot of dry work, and it looked like it worked. It's hard to have an overnight fix, but that pretty much was an overnight fix." So, you ask, is it sustainable? It sounds like, maybe it isn't, but if they can just remember to repeat their mechanics in the new way, maybe it is. And I think it's really neat how teammates can help each other out like that.
How much do you put into okay, so he got chewed up a bit by the Yankees. That they're doing that to everybody, right?
Yeah.
Now he will have faced the Rockies, and then he's got the A's later this week against JP Sears. At least that's the projected matchup right now. Whoever they face after these two teams is going to be better. Whether it's I haven't even looked at the schedule that far ahead. That's how one track my mind is right now. But having those teams, they have Tampa next, but it doesn't look like he's going to pitch in that series. How much do you think, though, going from the Yankees who kind of knock you around to a couple of parachute games, and again, maybe the A's beat him up. I'm not saying they will. I'm not saying they won't. But do you think that actually can be beneficial of turning a guy's season around? Is just luck of the draw. You get two starts against two teams that are not really in the same league as you, and all of a sudden now when you hit the ground running again, I don't know. I think there's something to be said about it's not like the power of suggestion or anything, but
no,
sometimes just your thing helps you.
It's a mental, it's a mental game. It's a game of confidence. I mean, that is the currency that these players go with. I think sometimes, especially hitters, but pitchers too. So it's his results against the Yankees weren't great, but like you said, they've been hitting everybody lately. And just because you can beat up on the Rockies and the A's.
By the way, guess who we started against after Rockies and A's?
Who's that?
The A's again in Oakland.
Oh, okay. So it's going to be a lot of that. But I think Paddack is the kind of guy, and Woods Richardson to an extent too. We're not expecting these pitchers to lead the rotation. There's going to be some inconsistencies. There's going to be some peaks and valleys. But to help you get through 162 games, you need pitchers like Paddack and Simeon. And, they don't have to be aces. But this will the next time things go sideways, it is something to remember. Maybe the mechanics are off, or there's a tweak that can be made to get them pitching better. And, that's a great asset to have in fourth and fifth starters. So I think it's good for now, and maybe we'll see how long it can be sustained. But this is the kind of thing that we should expect all season.
Yeah, for sure. Well, hey, that's all we got time for. By the way, Locked On has launched their first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube, and it's available on Amazon Fire TV in the free Fire TV channels app. So go check it out on your smart TV or whatever else you have. It's called Locked On Sports Today, and it's here for you 24/7, covering the top sports stories of the day with the local experts of Locked On like Dave and me, plus our national shows covering every league. Find Locked On Sports Today available wherever you can get the free Fire TV channels app. And fire. Yeah, I feel like a little Beavis and Butthead action going on there. So that's a wrap. Twins, Rockies back for another one, and then it'll be Lopez and Gomber in the finale. Is it Gomber or Gomber?
You Gomber. Yeah, Austin Gomber. He's got a funny name, but I am impressed with how Gomber and Quantrill. I'm impressed with anybody that can pitch for the Rockies. I mean, they're inconsistent. They're not great, but you might get a good performance out of both of them. So don't be completely shocked if that happens.
Gomber's like my seventh starter in score sheet, so I know he's been pretty decent. I've been a fan for a while, which is being a fan of Rockies pitchers for a long time is it's a cry for
do that to yourself.
Yeah, but anyway, hey, thanks for hanging out. He's Dave Brown. I'm Brandon Warren. We're gonna get out of here. Thanks for hanging out with us, and we'll see ya tomorrow night.